From the day I wrote my first Hello World program to Enver and Amazon another year at Google, this is because I learned a lot of things from my computer science degree. I made countless mistakes along the way, which made my path to become a software engineer longer than it should have been. I watched countless YouTube tutorials, paid for numerous Udemy courses, and spent hundreds of hours learning things that don't have value. If I could go back in time and do all the things that didn't work, I'd be in the exact same situation as today within 6 months from starting programming. That's exactly why I made this video. Today, I'll remove all the useless fluff and give you the fastest route to go from a beginner to a full-time software engineer. I'll be going over 3 routes to become a software engineer. So for this video, I'll be going over, is it better to go a college route or self-taught route? And then I'll be going over how you should decide which field you want to go into. So computer engineering is very broad. So I think you can break it down to 3 different fields, which is software engineering, data analytics, and cybersecurity. Then I'll be going over resume, how to land internships, and then how to practice for internships. So for the college route, I believe that you should be kind of informative with your advisor. Take all the classes you want. To me, I don't think you really learn anything unless you take a 500 level course, which is typically like your junior, senior year. But you get a lot of intros your first 2 years. Like the first year would be like intro to Java or discrete functions, do a lot of math like calculus and physics, chemistry, and then you do like C and C++. So after that, I think around your sophomore year, you should start applying to internships towards like the winter, so you could find a summer internship going into your sophomore year. The sophomore year, the first internship, you want to do like a learning experience, see what you get your feet wet. If you actually like computer engineering, you do probably a lot of remediations at your company and very little programming. So I just say that, but be very vocal at your roles. So every time it's a talking experience, speak up for that. Be 5 minutes early to your meetings so people could show that you're a very informative person and about business. And also take notes. Always ask questions. That's what business people want to see. And then next, let's go into self-taught. So self-taught, I'll advise you to learn object-oriented programming language and get efficient in it. So object-oriented language is probably like Java, C++, things like that. I'll probably learn Java starting off first. Once you get efficient in one programming language, you will know every other programming language. Essentially, the difference is syntax. So after that, you could play around with building mobile applications, so a website. You could do that within using Angular, Java, and then some sort of backend equals SQL or Firebase, and then just build something with like Python. If you use like web scraper or just grabbing data analytics, or maybe a stock trading app. I think that's a good thing too for self-taught. Just do projects that could show your worth into companies, and then also utilize like sort of a Git system or a backlog system when you're using self-taught. So a backlog system, what I mean is you could use something like ClickUp and detailing write out like user stories so your company knows what it is. I'll go more in depth in this. So now I made it to my computer. I'm gonna take you through the first part of software engineering, which is the back end. So I wrote simple queries in SQL to show you what you will expect for the back end. This is very simple and it's not stored procedures. So the first one, we have a question called subquery. And this one, we are selecting name from murder mystery, and then we get into fit now member, and then you see where we're grabbing it from. So when I execute the code, you can see all the names that are in this table and are between these dates right here. The next one is the same thing, but instead of a subquery, we're doing a join. And you can see the difference between the subquery and the join. And then at the bottom right, you can see the execution time to see which one's faster.
Same with 3. I'm doing a subquery, and then I am doing a join. So you can see that the join is faster, and the subquery is more efficient. And the same thing with question 2. So I'm grabbing annual income from murder mystery income. I'm using inner join, where the make of a car is Honda and a car model is a Civic. And then you can see the annual income of the people who has a Honda and a Civic. And lastly, I am finding shortened by a social security number to find the annual income and the mystery. So if you look at my tables, clicking in for murder mystery, if I go to tables, you can see all the different type of tables I have columns. The first one is crime scene report. I have a columns, date, type, and city. Then I have foreign keys and triggers. Then I have driver license, columns of ID, age, height, eye color, hair color, gender, plate number, make, model, and so forth for each one. Some things are foreign keys to different tables, and some I have triggers in the tables. So for this, the tables, you see all the column names that I have. Here's the columns for each one, the indexes, triggers, views, and everything else. Alright, you gang. So since we just went over the SQL, which is the back end, we're now stepping into middle tier, which I will be using Java. So on my screen right now, I have a section called How Are REST Services Configured. So the first thing is the controller calls down to the service calls the DO to grab data out, and we use a GET request or a POST request to get everything out. So on my screen right now, you can see a controller. I have it called admin approval controller. I'm just passing in the admin service, and then I'm using a get mapping, a response entity, and then a request param, which is a string, just passing a name. So if we use Postman, you would need a name to call the data, which is get approvers. And then I will be having map strings, and then just pasting the name values of the name that I inputted into a map. And I'm just using a try-catch system for that. Now we go to the DAO. So you see I have JDBC mapper. So for the row mapper, I'm just mapping the row with the SQL exception. So if I get the string name and it returns no, so I'm just going to set the name to the name that we are getting from the database. And then I'm going to just return the admin. For the DAO, I'm using a logger, and then admin, get admin, the SQL. This is like the page name, which is his name. And then the login, getting names from the database. And then we're just going to query for object of the admin of the SQL page. Next, we are having the admin DAO, which is data access object. And then I'm just calling the admin and get in the admin and passing the string name. And then the domain, you can see that we have admin, which is this name, setting equal to the admin of the name. Then we get in set name, where you see we set the name earlier in the DAO, and then we're grabbing the name. And then lastly, we have is a service. So if I just step into this service, so I get admin, and then passing the string name again. And then for the service impl, you just see where I'm just grabbing the DAO, and then I'm just getting the name of, or getting the admin's name. And that's simple. And then after this, I'll show you how to set up the front end. Let's take a look at the front end. We use Angular applications. So for this, I am modeling after the database, SQL database that we're using. So we go to the first class you want to create is modal. So it's called murder mystery modal. I'm using the driver license column. The things that getting passed through are ID, age, height, eye color, hair color, gender, plate number, car make, model. You see I say either everything to a number or a string. The next thing we're doing is the service. It's called murder mystery service. At the top, I'm using API URL. Typically, what happens when you run your Java service, which is your middle tier, it contacts as a different port, and then your front end is a different port when you run locals. So I have a constructor that using HTTP requests. Then get admin, which I'm passing the name, and you have a observable so we could get the data out, and I'm just using the get for the get request. And the URL store is how you paste the endpoint name of what you got from the Java service. So lastly, we have is the TypeScript for the HTML file. It's called murder mystery component. I have a data and a name. I'm passing the service, and then for ng on init, I have calling just the service get admin, which is the endpoint, and passing through the name, subscribing to it so I get the data out. I'm checking if it's null. If it is, return, and then I'm setting the data, which is any, to X so I can get the values in the HTML. Stepping into HTML, you can see I have H2 tag, which is like a title tag. I just named the names. Then I'm doing a list. I'm just ng4ing. I'm calling it names of data. That is the array that we are getting from the component TypeScript murder mystery component. And then I'm just doing names.id because I want to find the name or the ID from the data we're getting. And the ID is coming back to the modal, which is the SQL column of driver license. I'm grabbing the ID from there.
That was a very informative part for software engineering. So let's get into data analytics.
For data analytics, I built a very simple web scraping thing to kind of order food. So the first thing is we're trying to order soup. We have the URL for an example of food website. Maybe it could be Noodles and Company. We use response request. I get URL. If it's a 200 status code, then we're gonna scrape that. Else, then it failed. Trying to get the website URL, and then we trying to find all names of like the soup names off the website.
I hope you enjoyed the data analytics part. Now let's get into cybersecurity portion.
For cybersecurity, I wrote a very simple Python code. I use generate key to frontend the generate key. It's basically encryption and decryption. So the secret key, open it with the file name, WB, and then write to the key, write the secret of the name, see the message to encrypt the message. Say if my name is Julian, I want to encrypt it with a cipher encryption. And then to decrypt it, I just want to decrypt the soup of the encryption to get my name back to Julian.
Now that I talked about the three sections, which were software engineering, data analytics, and cybersecurity, I'll be going over the resume that landed me job offers from UPS, Amazon, and LG&E.
So taking a look at my resume, at the top you can see where I did coursework. It has technical skills, so it's relevant coursework. The first one is object-oriented, automation theory, and then algorithms. And then the next one is skills. So programming languages, I have Proficient, I have Java, Spring Boot, C#, C++. And then for familiar, I got Python, Ruby, and C. For frameworks, I have jQuery and Bootstrap. Then databases, SQL and Firebase. And then tools is like Git and Bash. And then I have applied experience. So this could be personal projects or projects that you are working or in school. So the first one is intro to game development. I created a game called Death Upon Us. It's out on Steam if you guys want to check it out. And then another one is esports server. I created that, a Discord server in college. And then the last one was motion profiling and versus kinematics. When I was on a robotics team during high school, we did a lot of things like trigonometry and things like that for Java and C++. And then for work, you can see I have application developer at UPS. So I've been working there since COVID. I created web applications, then gave a brief description of that, used agile methodology, and developed mobile applications. And then the last section in my resume that you can see is a very important part. It's called activity/honors. So for me, I am part of a fraternity called Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. You can see it says Vice President for Tall Chapter. When you have any presidential, vice president candidates, I think it's very important to highlight because internship people could overlook a lot of things. So maybe you have a 3.5, but how vocal are you in a team meeting or a team setting? How cooperative are you in team environments? That's good things to highlight. You can see I did NSB, LSEMP, and was part of NAACP. This resume got me about 3 to 4 job offers, including LG&E, UPS, and Amazon. That was the top 3. Thank you, Jew Gang, for always watching my videos, commenting, liking, and subscribing. I'm back on a full-time schedule now, so I'll be uploading weekly. And then also have this new vlog coming out. I'll post a snippet of that. It's very funny. I was with my friends and things like that. Just thank you for everything. I hope this video serves the very purpose for people who are trying to get into the software engineering realm or computer programming realm and how to start either college, self-taught, picking between software engineering, data analytics, or cybersecurity. And also going over a great resume and how to get job offers from your resume. Thank you.
5 minutes later.
Can you see? Yes, I feel like you capping.
No, I'm not.
Is it tight?
Yes. But I cut off my brain circulation.